Hey guys, Mr. Royans here, and as you can see by my backdrop, I am at home recording this lesson. I just every now and then, I do a lot of work from home, like thinking about what I want to teach. And today, this mini lesson hit me, and I wanted to get it done at home instead of at school. And actually, it worked out pretty well because I went through my daughter's picture books and I found a book that fits the lesson I wanted to teach today pretty well. Um, so this mini lesson's in line with what we learned last week and what we focused on last week, where we really zeroed in on character traits and looking at the things and the way we can tell what makes up a character's traits. How can we infer? How can we use that thinking voice? We use our reading voice and we read what a character says. Then we use our thinking voice and go, man, he sounds like a jerk from what he's saying. Or, man, he must be a very nice person. And we looked at a list of traits. And remember, traits are tried and true. And what I mean by that is, or well, what not what I mean, but what we mean in general when we say tried and true, it means it's part of who you are. Remember, feelings are something that come and go. One second I can be happy, and then I stub my toe and I'm angry. Then the anger goes away, and I'm back to being like, I'm okay. But a trait is, remember I used the idea of being loyal to my family, loyal to my school, loyal to my students. I'm no matter where I am, I'm always loyal. Even if I'm angry, I'm still loyal. Maybe angrily loyal. You know what I mean? Or um, a caring person. I care for my students. I care for my daughter. Care for my wife. You know, I have those things that's even when I'm sad, I'm still caring for people in that capacity. It's a trait. So what we're going to do today is we're going to look at a book. And that's actually why one of the reasons I recorded from home is because I had this book here and I was trying to find a book that had speaker tags that kind of showed why a person sounds that way when they're talking. So it says this person said it and they said it this way. And we're going to examine some dialogue and then we're going to ask ourselves, why did the character say that? Okay, and why did the character say it that way? And what can we infer about the character? Remember, an inference is you're putting your background knowledge to use. You're activating that background knowledge, what you already know about the way someone's talking, to go, man, yeah, he's just, I'd like to sock that guy in his mouth for being a jerk. Especially with the book I have today. Ooh, there's one mean character. He's not mean, kind of a turd though. So what I want you guys to gather from this, or I want you to be able to internalize these thoughts, and I want you to understand how a character's actions, what they do or say, how it affects the plot. Okay? Because you need to be able to understand. It's important to understand how characters in a book, they're like people in real life. I mean, you can infer a lot about a person, how they talk to you, the same as you can infer a character in a book. Okay? So I'm going to read just half of this story on here, and it's gonna be like you watching me read. But then I'm gonna have the text in another whole group lesson, or the second part of this lesson, and I'm gonna go through and I'm gonna underline some stuff, kind of show you. You're gonna hear the emphasis, then I'm gonna show you the emphasis, and then when we do small group, I'm going to be asking you to find some important or surprising dialogue or action of some characters, okay? And then I'm going to ask you, why did the character say or do that? What is the character thinking? What are you thinking? And then we're going to write some sentences. We're going to bring it all together and do some writing by the end of this week when we're doing it, okay? Okay, so the book I chose is The Little Engine That Could. I know what you're thinking, Mr. Royans. That's an awfully childish story. Well, it's childish in that, yeah, you probably read it when you were in kindergarten or so, but it has some good themes. that a lot of people would still relate to. And we might even talk about this book when we get talking about themes later, because you see what the theme of the book is. Maybe I'll give some bonus points for those of you that know what the theme is. But I want you to understand that there's speaker tags in a story. And specifically in this book, there are speaker tags that tell how a character says something. Okay? It tells how a character says something. And when you read it, you have to read it with that voice. Okay? You have to read it thinking that. If you're reading it in your head. So like I said, I'm just going to read the first half of this, maybe first 2/3, and then we're going to skip to, I'm going to have the dialogue pulled up. I'm going to show you the underlining as I read it, because I want you to see also what I'm thinking. But first, I just want you to sit back and listen and pay attention to the speaker tags. I'm going to point them out. Then I'm going to point out how that character sounds. So, The Little Engine That Could by Waddy Piper. This is the complete original edition, by the way. My daughter gets books from Dolly Parton, her Imaginarium librarian. I don't know if you guys ever heard of that. It's a little program that kids up to age 5 get sent a book every month. And my daughter loves it. She gets really good books. Like, I like the books too. I read them and I'm impressed. I hope we can sign my son up. I don't know. Anyway, chug, 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 puff, 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 ding dong, ding dong. The little train rumbled over the tracks. She was a happy little train, for she had such a jolly load to carry. Her cars were filled full of good things for boys and girls. There were toy animals, giraffes with long necks, teddy bears with almost no necks at all, and even a baby elephant. Then there were dolls with blue eyes and yellow curls. Dolls with brown eyes and bobbed heads, and funniest little toy clown you ever saw. And there were cars full of toy engines, airplanes, tops, jackknives, picture puzzles, books, and every kind of thing boys or girls could want. Now, remember, this book was written in, and I just looked it up a few months ago as I was reading it to Lucy. This book was written in the 30s or 40s. Yeah, the original copyright is 1930. So what little boys and girls wanted back then was wildly different than what you guys might want. And heck, there's even knives right there. I don't know if kids even get knives anymore. But that was not all. Some of the cars were filled with all sorts of good things for boys and girls to eat. Big golden oranges, red-cheeked apples, bottles of creamy milk for their breakfast, fresh spinach for their dinners, peppermint drops, and lollipops for after-meal treats. Remember, 1930s. The little train was carrying all these wonderful things to the good little boys and girls on the other side of the mountain. She puffed along merrily. Then all of a sudden she stopped with a jerk. She simply could not go another inch. She tried and she tried, but her wheels would not turn. Turn around this way a little bit. What were all those good little boys and girls on the other side of the mountain going to do without the wonderful toys to play with and the good food to eat? "Here comes a shiny new engine," said the funny little clown who jumped out of the train. "Let us ask him to help us." So all the dolls and toys cried out together. And here's the first speaker tag coming up, guys. "Please, shiny new engine, won't you please pull our train over the mountain? Our engine is broken down, and the boys and girls on the other side won't have any toys to play with or good food to eat unless you help us." But the shiny new engine snorted. Speaker tag there, guys. It's telling us who was the speaker and how did they say it. But the shiny new engine snorted. I pull you? I am a passenger engine. I have just carried a fine big train over the mountain, with more cars than you ever dreamed of. My train had sleeping cars with comfortable berths, a dining car where waiters bring whatever hungry people want to eat, and parlor cars in which people sit in soft armchairs and look out of big plate glass windows. I pull the likes of you? Indeed not. And off he steamed to the roundhouse, where engines live when they are not busy. Well, I mean, so think about this but the shiny new engine snorted. I think of somebody that's kind of a, what's the word I'm looking for here? Let me pull up my character trait list here. Someone that's kind of rude or selfish. Snorted. I pull you? Question mark. I pull you? As if. What kind of a person says that? I pull you? Kind of a haughty toddy, selfish, like, you're below me, I won't pull you. How sad the little train and all the dolls and toys felt. Then the little clown called out, "The passenger engine is not the only one in the world. Here is another engine coming, a great big strong one. Let us ask him to help us." The little toy clown waved his flag and the big strong engine came to a stop. "Please, oh please, big engine," cried all the dolls and toys together. Well, that's another speaker tag. Even though it has the air quotes here, I mean, you can't see it. The quotes, it says, "Please, oh please, big engine," cried all the dolls and toys together. Now, is that a literal, like, it was probably like a, "Please, big engine, please pull our train over the mountain. Won't you please pull our train over the mountain? Our engine is broken down and the good little boys and girls on the other side won't have any toys to play with or good food to eat unless you help us." But the big strong engine bellowed. Speaker tag. The big strong engine bellowed. "I am a freight engine. I have just pulled a big train loaded with big machines over the mountain. These machines print books and newspapers for grown-ups to read. I am a very important engine indeed. I won't pull the likes of you." And the freight engine puffed off indignantly to the roundhouse. Ooh, that's a good word, indignantly. Look that up. The little train and all the dolls and toys were very sad. "Cheer up," cried the little toy clown. "The freight engine is not the only one in the world. Here comes another. He looks very old and tired, but our train is so little, perhaps he can help us." Okay, next part of this is I'm going to upload a video of me. It's going to be screenshots. I'm going to read over it, but I'm going to be underlining the text for you guys to see because it's really important that you see it for yourself, okay? But think about those speaker tags of the first half that I read there. The shiny, fancy new engine snorted. The big engine bellowed. "I won't help the likes of you." They think they're too good. They're very selfish, right? And you can get that from the way they talk. It bellowed, snorted, "Me pull the likes of you, I think not." You know, what kind of person talks like that unless they're a jerk, right? Won't help out somebody like that needs help carrying toys to little kids. Okay, guys, so stay tuned for part 2 and watch that and observe, and then you will have some stuff you need to do for this seesaw activity. Hello, everybody. This is the second part of really looking at speaker dialogue and trying to infer, how a character acts. Like, why did the character say it that way, and what can I infer about the character? So the last page we left off, they saw the little tired old train coming up. So we're going to start right here where it says, So the little toy clown waved his flag at the dingy, rusty old engine stopped. "Please, kind engine," cried all the dolls and toys together. "Won't you please pull our train over the mountain? Our engine is broken down, and the boys and girls on the other side won't have any toys to play with or good food to eat unless you help us." But the rusty old engine sighed. The rusty old engine sighed. So remember, why we're thinking about the speaker tags, and we're thinking about why did the character say that? Why did the character say it that way? I want you to read it in your head like an actor, if you were reading a script. But the rusty old engine sighed. "I am so tired. I must rest my weary wheels. I cannot pull even so little a train as yours over the mountain. I cannot. So think of that description, guys. The rusty old engine sighed. Think of a sigh. Why did he say it that way? Well, he's old. He's rusty. He's described as dingy. He's described as, well, let's see what he said. The dingy, rusty old engine. Dingy. I'm so tired. He's got to rest. And it's kind of like asking a grandparent to pick up a little kid. Do you think that this engine is as rude as the other ones? I don't. And off he, so, I'm sorry, I cannot. And off he rumbled to the roundhouse, chugging, I cannot. Then indeed the little train was very, very sad, and the dolls and toys were ready to cry. But the little clown called out, here's another engine coming, a little blue engine, a very little one. Maybe she will help us. The very little engine came chugging merrily along. When she saw the toy clown's flag, she stopped quickly. That's an interesting adjective there. Or adverb, excuse me. She stopped quickly. She stopped quickly. None of the other trains stopped quickly, right? What is the matter, my friends? She asked kindly. She asked kindly. That is important. She asked kindly. What is the matter, my friends? Now, to think how somebody would say that kindly. What is the matter, my friends? Instead of, what's the matter, my friends? You have to read it with the speaker tag, with how it's described. What's the matter, my friends? So why did the character say it that way? Why did the character say it that way? Because they're a good person. Think of the list of character traits. This is probably someone that you would describe as a kind person. Not a happy person. There may be a happy train, but they're probably a kind person. They're generally nice to everyone. That's their trait. I can infer since that this train stopped quickly and she asked kindly, that it's probably a very nice person. Oh, little blue engine, cried the dolls and toys, will you pull us over the mountain? Our engine is broken down and the good boys and girls on the other side won't have any toys to play with or good food to eat unless you help us. Please, please help us, little blue engine. I'm not very big, said the little blue engine. They use me only for switching trains in the yard. I have never been over the mountain. But we must get over the mountain before the children awake, said all the dolls and toys. The very little engine looked up and saw the tears in the doll's eyes, and she thought of the good little boys and girls on the other side of the mountain who would not have any toys or good food unless she helped. Then she said, I think I can, I think I can, I think I can, and she hitched herself to the little train. She tugged and pulled and tugged, and slowly they started off. The toy clown jumped aboard, and all the dolls and toy animals began to smile and cheer. Puff, puff, chug, chug, went the little blue engine. I think I can, I think I can, I think I can, I think I can, I think I can. I think I can, I think I can, I think I can. Up, 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 faster and faster and faster and faster the little engine climbed, until at last they reached the top of the mountain. Down in the valley lay the city. Hooray, hooray, cried the funny little clown and all the dolls and the toys. The good little boys and the girls in the city will be happy because you helped us, kind little blue engine. Hey, our inference was right, guys. Because I can't use my pen now all of a sudden. I don't know. That's not what I want to do. Or mark up. There we go. Fine. I'll do it that way. Look. Kind little blue engine. That's what they even called her. And the little blue engine smiled and seemed to say as she puffed steadily down the mountain, I thought I could. I thought I could. I thought I could. I thought I could. The little blue engine smiled. Little blue engine smiled, guys. So you have to read these in the way that they're described, and you have to kind of understand what the character is like based on that dialogue. This is directly from what we talked about last week as well, guys. So when we meet in small groups, we are going to be using a card I have to kind of find these things out about speakers in a story. All right? Okay, guys, please check the seesaw activity to see what you need to do to mark this activity as complete.